So this is INnoVation versus soO from the Kung Fu Cup number 8. One of the early rounds, I think even first round match. The Kung Fu Cup organizers were nice enough to send these replays over for us so we could get a cast on them. In the bottom left-hand side, the red Terran player from TvZ Gaming is INnoVation. And in the top right, our blue Zerg is soO, to make this a fun little TvZ opener. And it will be some proxy racks to start us off. I'm going to say hello to all my YouTube viewers right now, because I'm 99% sure this one will be up on YouTube at some point. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being awesome as well. You guys, always love you. And don't forget, if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. You guys know the drill. It's the YouTube special. The like, subscribe, and comment. Always appreciate it. It goes a long way to helping us out. As INnoVation will start us off here with this 3 racks opener to get aggressive in game 1 on Everdream. So Everdream, one of the new maps in the map pool, and INnoVation's just a bit like, well, you know, I don't really fancy it. Now, as this gets seen by soO, he can send drones over to help out against this, and he's going to send a lot of drones over. He's going to send 7, which is way more than usual. That's going to be very aggressive trying to fight this. What I was going to say is soO doesn't actually know that this is 3 racks just yet. He will know very soon because these other drones will come in. Now he realizes, oh, okay, I got another racks I can try and delay. That said, the first Marine from INnoVation is on the way out. The big part of this is the SCVs are taking damage, and as the SCVs take damage, you get put in this very weird spot. Because when you get put in this very weird spot, you're basically then unable to build up the bunkers, and it becomes a way tougher time for you, as this barracks may not even finish. It's super close. He actually pulled extra SCVs across the map to help with this, but now he loses a Marine as well, and INnoVation is already seemingly in some trouble as he tries to pull back here. The drone's still fighting. I mean, finally the 3rd racks comes up, but this is so late. And yes, soO is, not had 7 drones mining, but other than that, he's been doing a pretty good job of this across the board so far. Team Marines coming in, going in after this Overlord. Will they get that before it gets high ground? I don't think so. I think soO keeps this Overlord alive as well, unless INnoVation lifts up a racks. I mean, these drones are still over here as well. I mean, INnoVation's had enough. He's trying to move towards the natural, but now the Zerglings are out. I mean, this feels like a complete disaster. I mean, this feels like absolutely worst case scenario for INnoVation. I mean, he's still building up a few more Marines, but there's so many Zerglings here. I guess worth keeping in mind, he's killed 5 drones, but he also pulled extra SCVs across the map to try and finish the barracks, right? So he has killed workers. He is on a worker lead. But of course, he's behind on a CC. He's only just now starting to take gas, so transitioning into any form of tech is going to be very delayed for INnoVation as well. And INnoVation's just going to write a question mark. I don't think there's much of a question mark about this INnoVation. You proxy raxed, he scouted it, and yeah, you've kind of died ever since then. Basically, just to summarize what's happening in this game number 1. soO with the Z, that's meant to be the laughing sound. It's basically like lol on the Korean keyboard. So yeah, he's just having a little bit of a giggle at what INnoVation thinks of this right now. As INnoVation is just kind of still trying to micro his way out of this scenario. He's killing a few Zerglings, don't get me wrong. In fact, he's doing a very good job of killing Zerglings. A much better job than I ever imagined. He's going to clean these all up. He might be able to stretch out this game a little bit. He might be able to keep this going for a little while even. So he might be able to keep this under, underway. But I mean, what are you going to do outside of this? I mean, push at the front, kill a spine crawl? I mean, that's not happening. So you might be able to stay in the game, but it really comes down to kind of doing something back at home, I think. He's going to lift up the racks and go home. Maybe with these Marines, you can delay the 3rd base or so. I mean, maybe you just have to pull them back home. Ling speed's on the way. Once Ling speed and a decent number of Lings are out, these Marines are goners. And then it might just be better to have them at home and wait until you've got, factory online, some Hellions to join in as well, to kind of help out with, from that. As you do see this factory going to be finishing up, Zergling speed will be done in a moment. Queen going to drop down and inject. Another Queen about to pop out here as well. A few extra Zerglings in production. And the reactor dropping down on the factory. As the starport will start in the main base also. A lot of setup right now as we do have 12 Zerglings in production being brought into play. soO is looking as though he wants to get across this map and do something. These Marines are only still here because they want to kill this Overlord. But killing this Overlord might cost him all of these Marines. Now, the reactor isn't finished at home, but soO doesn't have like any kind of a bust, so the wall-off should hold. As these Lings will go in, they'll get the surround. These Marines are just going to try and kite for whatever they can, but Yeah, I mean, was it worth the Overlord? Absolutely not. You're on 0 army supply 5 minutes into this game as INnoVation, which obviously doesn't go too well for you. The first 2 Hellions on the way up. So first 2 Hellions on the way up. CC going to be finishing in the main base in a moment or two. And the starport will start up a Liberator. So Liberator on the way out. These 2 Queens picking their way through this barracks in the natural expansion. So Rax taking a lot of damage. The extra Queens coming in. And they are going to continue to go for this Rax right here. So Rax taking some extra hits right now. That's going to get pushed all the way up into the main base. Will go down. Rax is denied. Does our Liberator from INnoVation going to be on the way up in the main? CC, third CC building up now as well. I mean, if you're going to get back into this, it's not through aggression and kind of being on the map when soO already has a bunch of units. It's probably by sitting back, macroing up a bit, and just accepting your fate in that regard. You know, little bits of harassment. I don't think you're going to win this, but the 2 base push off to being so delayed getting to 2 bases. If you have a successful Liberator, a couple of Hellions that move around and do okay, those sort of things can go very well for you. Those sort of things can do very, very well for you in the long run, as we do see the Bane Nest dropping down from soO at the moment, so already getting this up and running. Liberator will make its way around up this top side. So past in towards the natural expansion. We'll siege up here, and this Queen pressing forwards from soO is not going to be able to get forwards. Liberator is going to get a couple more shots. Queen taking some damage. Now the Bane Nest on the way down from soO as well. So just getting a Bane Nest up. I mean, pretty standard Ling Bane setup. This map has a lot of dead airspace over here, by the way. I mean, there's a whole mountain on it. There's an entire mountain to hide your Liberators on, etc. As the Hellions come darting across again, he's really INnoVation. He kind of needs to hope for soO to screw up the defense. Get by, kill like 15, 20 workers. And if he can do that, playing into the bio follow-up, it might have some success. It might have some possibility, but if he doesn't kill that many workers, if he kills a few less, I mean, some chances, but he needs so much here. And the 3CC behind all of this obviously helping, but soO's also pretty free to just go up into his Spire. Isn't being slowed down from doing anything that he really wants to do. The Spine Crawler from early in the game really helps solidify this position, and as soO needs some Evo Chambers, he'll build them on the 3rd base. I like this for the reason of it being a wall-off from the, the Hellions running by into the 3rd base mineral line. I don't like it for the fact that if these Hellions... Not the Hellions, ignore the Hellions, but if the push comes, these Evo Chambers are quite exposed, especially on a position where maybe you get like tanks down here. I mean, those are very weakly positioned Evo Chambers in that regard. Maybe soO just feeling very confident, feeling as though if a push comes, well, as long as I've not taken work damage, I should just crush it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's a calculated risk, the positioning of those Evo Chambers. So that's the one little thing I can pick out about them, but it's about it. That said, I mean, INnoVation's push will have some strength behind it. 1-1 upgrades are going to be ahead for him, so you will have a 1-1 lead. Stim's going to be done. You can start combat shields. That might not be done to hit with 1-1 at the exact timing. I guess we'll have to see, as INnoVation will pull back over the left-hand side. Zergling goes down, and more Mutalisks on the way up, and a Corruptor started. That was a mistake, and soO will cancel that pretty much right away. Takes that out of the equation, as we do have our armory now built in the front of the natural. Still these Hellions positioned over on the far left-hand side. 1-1 upgrades, combat shields coming through. You see 2 more barracks from INnoVation building in this main base. So that's going to be 5 racks in total. Which makes sense. You got 3 bases, extra barracks for the next step of the equation. INnoVation even going to take gases here, so he's not going to be afraid from adding a second factory and really teching up. He's not looking to end this on 3 bases necessarily. So I expect probably, again, like I said, an extra factory and maybe even more racks and a 4th command center here eventually as INnoVation coming around this top side. We'll get a scan, pick up a couple creep teamers already. Again, this is the point in the game where he has that 1-1, not sieged up yet on creep. He's playing pretty dangerous games here. He double stims the army, if I'm not mistaken, and takes a lot of health off his Marines. The Hellions wanted to get up there to help, but they were just a bit too late, a bit too out of position. And at the same time, the Mutalisks start flying in to pick up a couple of work kills. And now they're going to pull back around as well. So soO able to hold this off. I mean, a little bit of complication here and a little bit of complication there, but overall working out as the Lings and Banes keep on running through. The Marines loading back up into the medevacs. And the rest of these Marines trying to fight as the Liberator looking for something here as well. Just trying to trade out there, but not really finding all too much. Just going to be seeing there again. Rest of the meters coming down to the bottom side. Just going to be having the reactor being picked away at. Extra Marines stimming across. Thor on the way out. And we do see the 2-2 upgrades still coming in here from soO as well. So, I mean, from that regard, it's looking kind of okay. These middlers might want to make a play into the main base. And they're going to really keep INnoVation pinned back. INnoVation going up to 8 racks now. He didn't add on the 4th CC. I guess maybe the extra gas is just a factory. But may still just try and 3-base all in this, rather than going up to the 4th. Mules coming down. Going to go straight in for the missile turret. Couple of mules being picked away. Fresh mules. I mean, those are dangerous targets. Exactly what you want to pick up as soO. There's a few Banes already leading the charge into this. They'll get rid of the depots, so no wall off here now. I mean, other than that, the Banes didn't really connect on much, and soO will just back away. I mean, soO's in a position where he's got the freedom to do what he wants. He's got so much creep on the map. He's got bases coming up all around. You know, he's got a good drone count, 80 workers, so he does drop down the infestation pit. He will tech up. Typically, the later in the game you go here, the better it is for Zerg, especially if you're getting into that later stage of the game with the Terran playing from behind. Especially if you can get there, keeping all these mutilers alive and harassing as well, making the Terran's life real difficult to try and match you in any way. So yeah, I don't mind soO just infestation pitting it and just setting up in towards the rest of this. I think you've got to remember as well, though, that soO has always been a bit more of a mid-game player, so it does get a bit scary when he sort of takes a step towards the late game, because he's definitely been weaker there than he has been in the mid-game a lot of the time, so we'll see. I mean, that doesn't mean soO can't play a late game at all. It just, if there has, you know, if you had to point out a weakness of soO, you'd probably say, well, it's his late game, right? His early game is pristine, his micro is on point. He's great at timings. He's very aggressive. But playing like a long, drawn-out game, a little bit tougher. Now, that said, this is not going to hit a proper late game, right? It's going to hit a stage of the game where ultras are out, and you're still being like the aggressive run around the map. Zerg just with some better units. Oh, that thought, because here comes soO, just going to dive on in. The Widow Mines all get taken down before the majority of connections. Medevacs are boosting away, but where are they going to drop? The Mutilers are going to be here as well to protect. I mean, the Lings are just going to commit in, and the Mutilers will join this fight as well. Now, the Thors do drop down, but the Balins are going to town on everything that drops, and the game might just end here. Never mind what's building on the infestation pit. soO takes a big fight and a huge advantage from it, and money in the bank to spend. It's a lot of cleanup from what the Terran had. And remember that INnoVation here as well is only 3 bases. No 4th build still, and as long as he has no 4th base, soO should be extremely content to just say, well, you know what, you don't have a 4th base. This is fine for me, you know. Yeah, you know, I can tech up, I can get through 3 Adrenal Glands, Ultra Cavern. But I mean, you are basically going to keep attacking me. The main base is going to try and relocate out. I mean, the Mutas take immediate advantage. There's no missile turret here. Nothing defensively, so a bunch of SCVs end up falling. Mutilus will escape away down through the bottom side of the map there. 3-3 upgrades still coming in. On either side, I mean, it's maybe INnoVation's one last hope. Hit 3-3 and hit a timing, but if you wait all the way for 3-3, you're actually going to be probably allowing the Ultralists to come onto the field. And that's obviously an issue in itself in terms of something else you don't really want to fight here as INnoVation that you might just not have a choice against, as we do see Widow Mines. They just don't find the connections they really need, do they? The Thor goes down and INnoVation taps out of a game that, quite frankly, he's been losing for a good long while. He was losing this for a very long time, right? There was no sort of stage in this where it's like, oh yeah, INnoVation's doing great. Every push he had got shut down. Obviously, the first 3 racks put him behind. The Hellions didn't do major damage. The Libs didn't do major damage. It was impressive that he drew the game out like he did almost. And, you know, as a matter of fact, but at the end of the day, soO just playing off an advantage, does creep all over the place. He has whichever base he wants. There's been no pressure from INnoVation for multiple minutes. This is a game which soO is meant to win, and it's a game which soO absolutely destroys INnoVation in the end because of that fact. Game 2, and welcome to the Golden Wall, an interesting map in its layout itself. Talk about that as we introduce the players. Bottom left-hand side, the red Terran. Down 0-1. I'd be surprised if he proxy raxes again. This map's actually kind of big as well when it comes to rushing across. This is INnoVation. As in the lower right-hand side, we do have the blue Zerg player, soO. Up 1-0, again, a game in that first map where we just said it, right? He shut everything down. He took a big lead. He didn't take any damage, which would have let INnoVation more back into the game than he got. And he played it slow, but he played it in a comfortable way, good middleless control, etc. Did a good job of it. Now let's quickly talk about this. As we set it up, we do see the hatchery dropping down from soO. The map is obviously very interesting. You've got this entire top side of the map, which honestly isn't even that great for taking bases on. But then you've got the bottom side. This third base is very easy to take and hold. I mean, getting down on this side of the map is interesting because you've got to mine out minerals in the center, or the gold bases, or this. It's very intriguing in that way. So really intrigued to see how TvZ starts to play out on this map as we get this going. Just going to be seeing this Reaper from INnoVation building up on the main base, the SCV, mining a couple of minerals there. I'm going to come through to put a command center down on that. As I see a Reaper coming out as well, so that's going to be done in a moment or two. And yeah, I mean, we've seen so far a lot of the games on this map have been very Nidus-centric from the Zerg. Very aggressive, very all-in. I don't think we've seen many ZVTs on this just yet, though, so... It is one of those maps where I feel like if you get through the craziness of maybe the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, if you get through that craziness of the game, you actually get to a stage of this where it's like, oh my god, you can actually kind of split this map. It's big, it goes long. So it gets real interesting real quick in that regard as well, I would say. As you do see the factory dropping down in the main base, the reactor coming in on the barracks here. And the CC on the low ground natural as well, so just going to be taking that. I mean, again, very standard stuff across the board on both sides. The second gas taken from INnoVation, so we will be seeing a starport-based play afterwards as well. Third hatch from soO. Reaper was not really able to delay that all too much. No intentions from either player just yet to go to the bottom side of the map. So neither of them saying, you know, let's play the bottom side or anything along those lines. Couple Hellions obviously on the way from INnoVation. The real question is, what do you do off the starport? I mean, Banshee is a real possibility here as we see the Tech Lab coming up. So Tech Lab building up on the rack. Starport can jump over to that. We do have the Marine of INnoVation. Just going to push the Overlord away to the side. And again, a few drones just building up at the moment here from soO. Third hatchery. Going to be done sooner rather than later. Yeah, we're just in a state of build-up right now. Really waiting to see what each of these players ends up bringing to the table. INnoVation just super standard. Well, he actually started Stim. He cancels it now. But it was just looking super standard, like Hellions, Viking into Stim. Sometimes you see like a Liberator with this as well, and then into Stim. He's going to go Stim in the end, so I was just waiting a little while. I'm not sure what for. Maybe just wanted the extra minerals to start up more Hellions on time. There's the Liberator coming up too, so... Like I said, Viking into the Liberator, so it's again, you got Hellion and the Liberator harass the Viking to clean up some vision from soO on the map. So soO doesn't actually get much vision at all as to what's going on here. I mean, you know it's a Viking though, and you can already start to make some assumptions from that point. Six Hellions coming across, and again, INnoVation goes to 8 Hellions here, so it's definitely the more aggressive Hellion count. 8 Hellions is always this number where it's, you know, a couple more than expected. It delays your barracks that little bit, so you're really hoping to be able to dive in a bit and do a bit of something with them. And if you don't dive in and do a bit of something with them, then keeping them alive and preserving them at the very least so that you can use them in a later fight or a later push, really power that up. As this game, soO opts for the lair into the Bane nest, so Bane speed will be the first real tech choice from the Zerg player. So that's going to be the first real tech choice on that regard. As you see, those Hellions going to try and come down. Going to go through for the couple of drone kills. And now this Queen taking a few shots of damage as well. Reaper Grenade comes in, doesn't connect. 2 extra barracks on the way up. Obviously, that's just the build-up into that bio play. Nothing done by the Hellions. Viking still moving around. The Liberator only just now making its way across the map to try and get into a position to deal some damage. This Viking fire into the Overlord continues to take some hits, and again, just looking for a bit of cleanup here as soO got the lag, got the Bane Nest, hasn't gone Bane speed yet. Is actually not teching like he should be. Also, because of the, because he went lair faster, this should be like, Bane speed should be advantage over having later 1-1 upgrades. But now there's going to be later 1-1 and not even a fast Bane speed. And that's a mistake from soO. Might have even just straight up forgotten this right now. As we're going to be seeing this Liberator sieging up, and there goes some of the drones. That's 3, 4. And then the Liberator just unsieges and actually will re-siege on top of the Queen. Hellions will dive by at the same time, so you're just testing the multitasking of soO, and it's not good enough. Queen goes down, and now these drones are dropping dead as well. And it will just relocate back onto the same mineral line, causing chaos here. And this Liberator picks up 7 kills. It will be 8 in a second. And it will actually get 9 as this drone finished up. Hellions into the natural expansion as well. So INnoVation is going to find even more workers. And this is actually maybe not that crazy. 16 workers killed. INnoVation says a sad face. I mean, that's actually true because considering the Liberator's got 9, these Hellions did nothing. It didn't even get any Zergling kills. Got surrounded and got shut down there, but look at this play. Gold base from INnoVation, yes please. Just moves out into the front, takes the gold, no fear at all about this. So setting up straight towards that right away now, as we do have the Spire dropping in from soO in the back of this natural. And that's going to be his tech choice finally coming in. Bane speed's finally going to be done. I'm still afraid of the 1-1 timing here though, because I feel like INnoVation can make a bit of a push right now and have a really good time with it. You can kind of see the supply is already quite nice for INnoVation. I mean, there will be Bane speed, but 1-1 alone is kind of big. And then also just the fact the Spire, did he just... Okay, the Spire's done. You're going to start making Mutalisks? Problem is, if you start making Mutalisks, you're only on 5 Banelings. And then if you start making more Banelings, you can't make Mutalisks. So what do? I think you got to make Banelings to help fight the attack. But even that's a victory for INnoVation, because then you're slowing down the tech choice of soO quite substantially as well. As so's just going to go diving in on this. 1-1 not done yet from INnoVation. A couple seconds away. Now it's done, but the Banelings already connect the Lings. Well, they killed off one of the tanks. 2 tanks still remaining here. INnoVation with a few Marines left over. Caught a little bit with his pants down there. As we do have the couple of creep teamers going down. Marines trying to push up this ramp. Viking will get taken down as well. And a little bit more damage. Some Banes getting shut down. Still the army of INnoVation. Moving across over to the right-hand side. Now the Baneling Nest is obviously in so much trouble here as well right now, as 1-1's about to be done from soon. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. It's 4 seconds away. It'll kick in just about as these Banes start to connect, but while you're pulling back, the Banes won't connect. The Mutalisks will not do enough here. And then you've got Queens left against these Marines. It's not a good fight at all, unfortunately for soO. INnoVation just got a little bit too much done early, apparently. Even losing those Hellions wasn't enough to shut this one down, and INnoVation ties this up 1-1 in the best of 3. INnoVation nicely in game as we go into the bottom left-hand side. Our Red Terran player, this from TvZ Gaming, is INnoVation. Tying it up 1-1. And as we go into the top right-hand side of Eternal Empire, our blue Zerg, Mr. soO. So, game 3 of our series. Eternal Empire is our map. And looking to see what will come out here, what will come down. I mean, obviously, kind of a map that the players will be a bit more used to start with. I mean, actually, both the maps so far have been 2 of the new maps in the ladder map pool. So already maps that have been, not played on quite as much. As INnoVation and soO will be, again, much more used to Eternal Empire here. So we'll see what comes of that. And already soO, something interesting to note, the spawning pool in the main base. So that's going to be a spawning pool first from soO. So that's already saying maybe a little bit of aggression. Now, it's not gas pool hatch. It's just pool hatch gas. So it's not going to be like a fast roach play or anything along those lines. Just a couple of lings early. If it is a roach play, it's not like a super committed one, because you don't have the gas to make like tons of roaches. As we see the extractor dropping down. And just going to be seeing the Reaper coming in from INnoVation. Very standard here from INnoVation. Let's see what the Lynx can do, and we'll see what the follow-up may be from soO. I mean, a lot of this could just be feeling safe against, you know, perhaps he thinks INnoVation's going to get cheeky and proxy racks or something along those lines. As we do have the SUV coming across to the upper right, looking to see what's going on. So it's going to move all the way in towards the natural expansion here. Get to see that hatchery. The Zerglings of soO making their way down across. Now, you see it's not a pool. You see it's a pool first because of the SUV scout. So this means the Reaper will just stay at home. And so INnoVation can just sort of sit here. And obviously soO realizes the Reaper is back at home. The Overlord sees that, so he will not commit in with the Zergling. So a lot of just non-happenings here, basically, because of the fact that soO went pool first. And in the end of the day, it doesn't really hurt soO's economy much at all. You know, the gas now rolling in, so you can get Zergling speed started sooner rather than later. As we do see those few Zerglings of soO just going to back away over to the side and wandering past the Karak. And this time INnoVation going to take a third CC. So just the single gas, changing it up. I mean, Eternal Empire is one of the large maps. I mean, kind of brave to do this when you kind of see that this is going to be like a pool first sort of play. You're like, well, what's he pool firsting into? You know, what's the follow-up from that? So that's kind of an interesting one, right? To still say, you know what? Yes, you're being aggressive in your opening, and I'm still going to go for the more greedy play overall here for myself. So that's an interesting little something. As we do see the Reaper making its way out into the center of the map. Zergling speed about halfway done. And we do have the Stimpack upgrade coming in on the barracks as well. So Stimpack starting, Hellions producing. The third CC already building up in the main base, as we mentioned before. That will be done shortly, so lots of economy this game from INnoVation. Nice fast Stimpack and really just powering up into this bio-based gameplay. I mean, this is kind of what I want to see. You know, when I cast INnoVation soO, I don't want to see INnoVation proxy racks, and I don't want to see soO somehow dying in game number 2. I want to see this. I want to see 3cc draws. I want to see epic bio fights with the Lingbane Muta. Let's have it. Come on, guys. Let's see a good one here in this game 3 on Eternal Empire. INnoVation's Hellions will be making a play forwards again. soO as an Overlord here may want to go in and try and pick up some info. Try and see if there's, you know, if you can spot that it's bio, for example. It's not a bad thing to try and check, but he comes through and actually I think he gets the information already. Oh, he didn't actually see the gas. I thought that might be what he's looking for, but he doesn't. I'm not too sure there then. Interesting. Well, I mean, he's not really seen much moving out though, right? He's seen there's no Hellions around. Yeah, it's not really anything. I don't know. I feel like soO's, well, now he sees the third CC, so now he knows for sure what's up. Well, soO's, if he wasn't aware of what's going on, now he definitely does. Which is obviously good for him. There's a couple extra racks coming into play here in the main base. These few Hellions of INnoVation coming around the top. The Queen's pretty quick to turn those Hellions away. And again, Lair, Baneling Nest coming up. A couple extra racks coming down. The 1-1 upgrades. INnoVation just building through. I mean, I think soO was just pretty, you know, feeling pretty comfortable that this was going to be okay for him anyways. Now he maybe doesn't feel as comfortable as these Hellions are making a dive in towards the main. Even if he doesn't get the main, there's drones on the ramp that are actually helping to block. And now the drone's pulling in from the natural as well. So INnoVation's going to get to roasting and toasting. And he's having drones over the campfire tonight. 10 workers down. I mean, 10 workers and 8 links for the 7 Hellions. It's not end of the world territory for soO. Yes, it's a lot of drone losses. But it's also all of INnoVation's map control gone. Now, you're going to be seeing creep spread able to push forwards. You're going to be able to see no shutdown of that. The Hellions will not join the fight later on. Less units over here to defend counterattacks. I mean, it looks like the Marine count will be okay. There's a few Marines from INnoVation coming through. The Zerglings getting pushed back. There's the Baneling speed setting up. 1-1 melee upgrades coming through. And Hydra's Den. So actually going to see Lingbane Hydra out of soO. Something that you've not really seen much of lately. I wonder if he plays Lingbane Hydra into Lurkers. That's a style that very few Zerg players, especially in Korea, have picked up, and it's something we really didn't see much of at all during, for example, Katowice. Be very interesting because in general we've not seen much Lingbane Hydra as of late in general. So yeah, I wonder what the overall plan is here of the Lingbane Hydra from soO right now, as we do have the Overlord hanging out from soO up on the top side, and a few of these drones setting, a few of these depots setting up. Let's go Augments to start initially. I mean, Lingbane Hydra as a comp can still work, but we've really seen the acceptance of Mutalisks back into the Zerg composition lately, and that's just been the way to go about this. That's just been the way to play this out. Mutalisks, Lings, and Banes, and all of that good stuff. 2-2 upgrades starting up here from INnoVation in the natural expansion. So getting those underway, a few more Zerglings coming out, and we will see a bit of this creep spread pushing around. 2 medevacs from INnoVation will go flying in towards the main natural, so we'll begin to unload here and like to pick away at a few drones. So already a few workers starting to go down. This extractor taking some hits. Extra drone picked up. And yeah, these Marines just pulling back in towards the corners. Zerglings coming in for a wraparound. Couple of target fires on the Banelings. 4 out of 6 Banes targeted. Nicely done. There's only a few Marines going down, so it's already a pretty decent drop from INnoVation, all said and done, as he just keeps working his way towards 2-2 upgrades. Now, we'll see what soO wants to do in terms of upgrades of his own, because he's obviously got a bit of a choice between melee and missiles, some Banes and depots here, but the rest of it cleaned up. And he will continue with melee, so it really is a focus on Lingbane with support from the Hydralisks. Rather than, sometimes you can see, it's not as common, but sometimes you can see missile upgrades, and it's like a very heavy Hydra comp with more like you support with Lingbane. And that often is when you kind of follow up in towards Lurkers and so on instead. This should just be Lingbane Hydra for a good long while. I mean, 80 drones, use the Lingbane Hydra tech up, plus 2 melee upgrades, obviously then already transitioned through to the Ultras as well. And in general, it just looks very similar to like your regular sort of Lingbane Muta TvZ. It's just obviously that little bit different in terms of its Hydras instead of Mutas, so there's a little bit less harassment from, that the Mutas would have brought into play. But the rest of it is very similar. And the one thing as well is the Lingbane Hydra is a bit more kind of sturdy. So if you feel like INnoVation is being very aggressive on, 8 racks and just trying to push and end the game here and now, the Hydras are very good at stopping that because they're really just the extra ground army that you don't have if you're playing Mutalisks. And Mutalisks are great at kind of picking off units here and there, but they're very situational in fights, and a lot of the time they're just not good in fights. They're much better kind of at tail ends of fights. They're picking off a unit or 2 around the sides, but the Hydras are always just good at spreading out and joining in. So it really does give you that bit of extra stopping power if you feel that that maybe is your issue, and maybe that's something to do with the reason that soO chose to play Lingbane Hydra here instead of Lingbane Muta. Enough about the 2 unit choices though, because fights are actually starting to break out. This is the 2-2 timer from INnoVation. Big stim, and actually off the creep, he gets a lot of damage done already. Gets a lot of pickoffs on Lings and Banes that were just a bit too far forwards already. Queen going down here as well. The Bio now pulling back, as we do see Ins connecting in. Widow Mines didn't really blow up too much just yet. I mean, a lot of Banes still morphing. At the same time, Ling Hydra counterattack. So the 4th base that INnoVation just set up is in trouble. And he's actually going to see these Lings and Hydras going up this ramp. If there's Banes here, this could continue forward. Without the Banelings, I don't think it's worth headbutting the depots for. Pull back and keep these units alive. I mean, might actually just have to pull them back home because soO is still having to deal with this attack of INnoVation pressing forwards. Then Banelings getting rid of the Widow Mines might just initiate for the Zerglings to get in, and that will be the lift up. INnoVation will evacuate out of there, but he kept the 4th alive, so he is able to land that now on the 6 o'clock base. Take the high ground rather than the low ground. And I will say that soO is very caught up on Lingbane Hydra. No hive, no movement towards hive, no infestation pit or anything like that. So the longer that soO sits on hive tech for, obviously the worse that gets for him. As, oh, that's a medevac full of units that gets picked off. Nice catch. So yeah, the longer you sit on lair tech for, the worse this gets for you over time generally. Because the Terran's going to be hitting 3-3. That means that the Terran can trade so much better than before. It's like when they had 2-2 against 1-1. It's another issue for you to work on. Right now, soO has a lot of units. I mean, because he's not teching up, it generally says he wants to end the game sooner rather than later. So he's looking to attack. Meanwhile, INnoVation still has a good amount of units on the top left side. Now, not all of those medevacs were full. It means he's got a lot of healing support on that. As we'll see, INnoVation, I mean, he can hold just on the high grounds. He does have walls to help. The 4th base, very nearly a planetary fort. Is actually already a planetary fort. It's actually producing SCVs there. They're going to start pressing on forwards. The first few depots will start to go down. A lot of Banes caught behind the Hydra, so they're not getting through here just yet. I mean, the wall's now broken down. What can soO do? Well, he's going to lose the top side base, so his 4th going down. Lynx ended up running into the main base from this entrance over here that they made previously. INnoVation losing a lot of the SCVs, already down to 50, but remember, again, I mean, across the map, he's pushing forwards and trading extremely well. Soon to have 3-3 means he'll trade ridiculously well once he hits 3-3 on those bio units against what is just a stream of Zerglings, because you don't have time to realistically morph Balins against this. One Balin here will connect. No, it goes down on Marauders. And INnoVation's going to keep dealing damage to these. Zerglings are going down. soO is pulling all the way back home. Did deny and kill off the third base of INnoVation, but has obviously lost some of the bases of his own, at least mining on those bases. I guess it's not too bad just yet, because those bases are still around, so as long as you stabilize, you'll get that mining back. Some drones oversaturated in this main base. They'll be pushed away for a moment or two as INnoVation makes the boost out of there, and he will keep the medevac alive on fully filled medevac alive on low HP. Now he makes the play for this low ground, and now 3-3 against 2-2. These Zerglings will not do anything. You need Banelings in this. You need the Hydra support, and that's not here anymore. One of the medevacs got sniped down as Queen's fighting on the top side, but INnoVation's already killed the low ground base. The high ground base not dead yet, but will be soon enough. INnoVation rebuilding his own third, and at the bottom side still holds that fourth as a planetary fortress. Now having to kite away, the rest of these Hydras coming through. This little drop up here is still fighting and has actually done a real decent job as INnoVation sending a couple extra reinforcements over. This low Hydra count, Hydras are so, flimsy. They really kind of, they rip apart like paper. You don't have a lot of health on them. This Widowmine gets burrowed up. Target fires the Banelings, gets all the Banes bar 3. That's actually a huge connection for INnoVation. That's a big one. He really wanted that, and that helps him out massively as soO comes across the map. Worker count, 8 workers ahead from soO. Saves 4 bases. So this will turn out to be 4 base on 4 base in the near future. INnoVation comfortably mining this base all this time, though, I think is a big difference, because we're 13 minutes in, so the natural and third are like, mining out, so they're oversaturated. Where soO only just getting to mine the 4th base again. Definitely feels as though he's been a bit worse off on the economy during this. Couple Widow Mines to start us off here, and what are they connecting on? Pretty decent connections across the board. Only a few Banelings left over as INnoVation kiting backwards, reinforcements showing up. All of this off creep, remember, with the 3-3 over 2-2 advantage for the Terran player. Extra Bane showing up now as well. What can they connect on as Widow Mines will burrow? The Hydras ignore them, but now the Hydras are going to be forced back because of those potential connections. Extra few Zerglings streaming on through, but is it enough? Probably not. The bio units keep on fighting, and the Hydras go down, and soO's army is disappearing by the second. And when INnoVation attacks across the map, it's not going to be getting any better at all from soO. The upgrade disadvantage is still going to be there. The worker count is not going to be amazing from soO. He's not going to have extra units to work with, and that is GG. INnoVation takes it 2-1 against soO, and this was a really good series. Very happy that we got the replays to bring this to you guys at the end of the Kung Fu Cupcast. That's something great. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. I know I just said that like a few times. You're kind of stumbling over my own words. That was a good TvZ. Again, if you watch this one on YouTube, guys, this is going on YouTube. If you watch this one on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe.